Okay, so another video. So with this video, I'm going to introduce Fowler's curriculum of difficulty and go through the assignment process. As you see, there's some steps laid out in the syllabus, and I'm going to go over those. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about Fowler, and particularly the first orbital, which is Naive Story, which is due from you Sunday the 6th. Syllabus says Saturday, but it's supposed to be Sunday. I missed it. Apologize. So I've been using Fowler's work in 504 for a number of years. I can't even count. So before even the book came out, she came to Baton Rouge, she came to LSU, and she presented on the curriculum of difficulty. I think the book was, she was editing the book, it was in the works, okay? And she had, if you hear scurrying in the background, it's my wife. My wife is now retired. So here's to my wife. So anyway, she had a couple of online pieces that went through the orbitals. I think she called them something else. I can't remember what they are now. It's been so long. I probably have the old version on my computer back at the office. I'm clearly at home doing this. So Fowler is an experienced teacher and professor. I believe she's still teaching. I'll have to check on that. But she's a Canadian. She teaches at the University of Lethbridge, which is in Alberta, really not far from the American-Canadian border. She spent years as an English teacher, okay? And so you get a sense of that as you read the book. The book's interesting in that she goes through the orbitals that interspersed or little stories that I don't know that they're supposed to reflect the orbitals per se. I think they're just stories, but they may to some degree, and it's kind of interesting. It's an interesting work. She's aware that I use this, but I've not seen her again or been in touch with her since our first meeting many years ago. So I'm going to pull up the schedule that's in the syllabus and talk about that briefly. Okay. So here's our schedule. Notice I did change the due date to Sunday, June 6th. So really this is considered a field experience because basically what you're doing is an autoethnography. So you're doing an ethnographic writing on yourself, okay? And I know we're changing all of our field experience labels and stuff. So I should have that information by the end of the June session, so you can go in and put some of this in and some of this data in. So the first stage is what Fowler calls the naive story. Okay. And this is what's due on the 6th. And basically, and I'll go over this in a minute, but basically the naive story is a paragraph. It doesn't have to be too long. I don't want you to get into any analytics or reflection on it. I want you just to lay out a narrative of a difficult situation and the particulars around that situation, the who, when, where, how types of things, no whys. The situation can be with, for teachers, and can be with students. That's what I would prefer if that's possible. But it has to be something you're comfortable talking about. The only person at this point who will see any of this for this course will be me. There'll be no one else. I don't share this type of work with anyone. There is maybe an opportunity for some to expand on this and maybe present at a conference. We'll just see. And that's the first stage, and that's due on the 6th. And I want you to email it to me. And all I do is I save it and I read it. Sometimes, rarely though, do I make suggestions about the naive story. If I make any suggestions in my response to you, it's about when you take the story and do an analysis through the orbitals. Okay, and that's basically what the orbitals are, 2 through 7. And we really don't go beyond 6 in this writing process because 7 is making it public, which would be like presenting, whether you want to do that, I could see you making this public at a professional development maybe for your school or an academic conference. For those of you who are, say, in higher ed, who in that difficult situation can be based on a school experience, whether it's a graduate or undergraduate. It can be based on a high school experience. It can be on a workplace experience, dealing with coworkers, okay, dealing with a boss, a supervisor. And so all these things are available to teachers as well. I've had people write their narratives on coworkers, on parents, on supervisors. Change the names. You want to protect the guilty. Protect the innocent. And so I will do another video probably early next week on the orbitals, and it will follow the document that is in, which topic is that in? Okay. It's in topic 5 in Moodle, explaining the curriculum of difficulty document. So you certainly are able to read through that. And how do I get back? There we go. Okay. So that's taking you through the orbitals. And that part of the assignment is due June 17th. And notice I don't have a day of the week there. That was my mistake in number 2. And what I do, and that again is something you email to me, because what I do is read through it. If I want you to add something, to work on it a little bit more, I will let you know. And I will get those back to you probably before June 22nd. That's your rough draft. But at least by June 22nd. And then you would submit your final draft and portfolio by June 25th. Okay, that's a Friday. And for the most part, lately, and I don't teach this course every semester, so we'll teach it in the fall again. I've been getting some very good work as people move through the orbitals. I also recognize it's summer and we're time compressed a little bit. So I do take that into some consideration here. So a lot of people don't have any editing to do, and I just ask them to submit. Okay. So that's the process. And of course, if you have questions at any point, please email me or text me. But if you ever text me, please identify yourself. You know, so-and-so from EDFR 504. Here's my question, or here's, you know. So anyway, and that's how somebody emailed me about the date. That's how it got changed, which I'm very appreciative of. Okay. So that's the process. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing this page. I want to share. So this is the that document I just referred to. And I just want to go through my little introduction in Orbital 1. I do have examples of both naive story from my own and really it's a beginning, it's a psychological reconstruction, although you're asked to do beyond that, of my own story, my own narrative. But it's an attempt to get you moving, okay? So the purpose of this assignment, okay, is to get, and this is from Fowler, to get researchers, and everyone here is a researcher at some level, right? To get researchers to go beyond the simple stories of their experiences so that more can be learned about the practices of teaching. We want you to look deeper into your own stories of difficulty. We make it possible to learn more about our teaching selves. Who I am and my actions as a person impact who I am as a teacher, and as such impact all the lives I touch as a teacher. Fowler believes that in part, to become better teachers, we need to become better persons. And I support that. In fact, I have often said in class, in different classes that I've had, and I don't have live classes much anymore, but I do believe that the reason I teach is to be better. I came to this before even reading Fowler, okay? Because I teach, I'm a better person. I still have a lot of things to correct in my life, even though I'm 68. I hope, God willing, I have time to do such. By no means, do any of us ever become perfect beings. And if we think we're perfect, and if we're perfectionists, then that's something we need to work on. I think my big thing is patience. So Orbital 1, the naive story. Fowler's narrative process begins with what she describes as naive story. This is where we begin our individual story, maybe telling it for the first time. Okay, so your difficulty may be something you really haven't talked about or thought much about. For some, it will be something more recent, maybe, and something that continues to bother you. Okay. If it's not something we've dealt with in a while, maybe, by dealing with it, it will help us. Okay, this is the way she thinks about things. Telling it not just to another person, but to ourselves. So the naive story begins the process. Okay, it's maybe for the first time we're finding the words to describe that difficult situation, finding the language to begin putting it into words, to tell that story. Okay, and you see this in a number of the little narratives that Fowler includes. So what we're doing is we're giving voice to our difficulty. Think of the whole process as a kind of reflective practice on steroids. Think of our story as a knot that we need to unravel, which means analyze. Okay. Whenever you see notion of unraveling in terms of reading and writing, it's analysis. Okay. As for those in 503, when you have read Harvey, this is a dominant metaphor that you'll be familiar with. So unravel as we move through the narrative process. Okay. Basically, your story, you may, once you write it, now you may look upon it as data. It's not numerical data. Okay. It's not quantitative. It's highly qualitative, but it's still data. Okay. And I would suggest that if we do any writing about our students in terms of analysis, in terms of observation, of evaluation, we're going through this process as well. So this should help you with that, okay? So I will stop here. You may certainly read going through the Orbitals document. I will talk about it in a video next week. So again, as always, any questions, please email me as you go through the process. And again, try not to let the writing scare you. Write the narrative freehand. Don't worry about punctuation and grammar at first. Once you've written the narrative, the story, the naive story, you can go back and do a little editing after the fact. But don't worry about stopping to correct things as you write, because you want to get those feelings out. Okay. All right. I will also be doing maybe tomorrow the video on the moral life of schools, but I wanted to get this out first. Thank you.